That's on Sundays again now. That's crazy business. It's so weird just it being on Sundays instead of a Monday. It feels like it always doesn't count. Alright guys, let's take us away into this this match. As we're going to start our best of 3 on light shade. I know this is the highlight match of the day for a lot of people. As we have to the upper left-hand side of the map, our Red Protoss player. It is ShoWTimE. He's picked up a win in this league so far. The cleanest win of the tournament with a 2-0 over Skillus. As in the bottom right-hand corner. The blue Terran player is going to be HeroMarine. These two obviously clash a lot. They play a lot of games against each other. They meet in ESL Open Cups all of the time. It's never really easy to say which of these two is going to come out ahead, right? I want to say it's not important. It's just hard to pick, right? Because on any given day, it feels like either of these players can take down the other one. I'd say maybe ShoWTimE is looking a little bit better than HeroMarine lately, simply for the fact his results have been a tiny bit more consistent. And I'm only saying that in the sense that HeroMarine has had a couple of earlier exits in the Open Cups than usual, but yeah, it's really tough to kind of call a difference between, like I say, you're really kind of picking around on, you know, what I'd like to say is kind of a superficial result, really. Like ESL Open Cups, you don't do as well in one of those, are we really going to count you out of form and stuff? No, not really, right? These two pretty much always give us great games, which is why I'm excited about it. And again, don't forget that it's not just our last match of the night. It might be the highlight match of the day, but it is not the last, as later on today we still have Sol versus Clem. That should actually be a great TvT, and we are going to wrap the day up with Sol versus Mana as well. So a couple of Sol matches to put an end to everything. As you see, SCV Scout returns home. Stargate already being placed here from ShoWTimE. I'm just going to be seeing HeroMarine opting for a 3 racks opener. Now, ShoWTimE actually looked a little weak last time he played Clem. Simply for the fact that he actually just kind of died to Clem a few times in a row very quickly as well. And usually ShoWTimE is much better at putting up a fight than that. So I kind of felt like he got picked apart pretty quick, and maybe that'll come into it. Maybe that does show some weakness in his TVP, perhaps. As you see, our Adept just going to shade forward, the few Marines in the front, and Adept trying to get up to the high ground is not going to find anything. Pull wall off, seeing the reactor still on the barracks at least. That has some reasonable info, at least you know it's not like Hellion reacted production or something along those lines, so you do get a bit of info from this as the Oracle is going to start Chrono boosting out. And it's going to be rallying on down to that bottom right hand side, and Adept of ShoWTimE just rallying up the front as well. And SCVs obviously just going to be not halted from mine. Don't think this Adept's going to be causing too many issues. HeroMarine sends his little 4 Marine hit squad onto the map, and oh my goodness, is this going to intercept the Oracle? Not quite, but close enough. He actually sees the Oracle. He's not going to start pulling it back. He does have Marines in the main as well, so he should be able to deflect this. I don't think this Oracle will do too much. Those other Marines did not look to get a flank in or anything. The Adept? Adept just hanging around. I think the Adept walked in and shaded out and picks up a single kill. So still nothing really too substantial as both players defend well. ShoWTimE takes a 3rd base, and we continue up into what feels as though eventually should lead to kind of 3 base versus 3 bases. Of course, for now we still have Stimming Combat Shields coming up, so we're still a little way from HeroMarine taking an additional expansion. He will probably put a bit of pressure on with this Bioforce initially, especially with how quickly ShoWTimE decides to go to 3 bases. The fact it's a Stargate, I feel like that does give you some good options here for being able to come across the map and to be aggressive. So here comes HeroMarine pushing through. ShoWTimE is going to keep track of this a little bit. Batteries are on the way up. The question is, what does ShoWTimE have to fight? 3 sentries and 3 Adepts. It's not a lot. It is not a lot. It's pretty terrifying right now. This is the kind of thing that ShoWTimE was dying to against Clem as well. He's just going to get stimmed on there. HeroMarine decides to go get the battery on the 3rd base, and now if you want to defend the 3rd, you're pretty much going to guarantee there's no battery there to protect it. The sentry doesn't quite go down. Good defense so far from ShoWTimE, back and forth with the units, minimizing losses. And it is looking as though he'll keep the 3rd alive. Remember, once you survive the 1st stim, the 2nd stim has to come in. That takes the units even lower on HP here. there's not been medevacs to heal them up or anything. So anytime you're forcing a stim and then not dying is a good few moments, and that is a good defense from ShoWTimE. He dropped the force fields when needed, he disengaged when he wanted to as well. Very nicely handled. Coming up the left-hand side, we do have these adepts still setting up. Gonna see our Marines coming through, and they're just gonna stim in straight towards these probes. 5-6 workers already going down. Beautiful force field on the natural ram. Now, these Marines a little bit too heavily committed. Obviously, they've done good damage, but they are pretty much stuck here without being able to go anywhere else. They're only really dealing damage to adepts on the front, which is doing a great job attacking. The sentries will pull back in a way. HeroMarine's bio army is cleaned up. ShoWTimE taking a probe hit, having to stop mining on the natural. And you look at what's being lost here. Resources lost is pretty much dead even. And I wouldn't say that ShoWTimE really fell behind on economy. A little bit of an income dip, but this should even out again. He's still up 10 workers in this game, and HeroMarine has workers that will not be able to mine just yet. He's oversaturating the natural expansions. He still does not have a third CC, and it doesn't look like he's going to get one. 4th and 5th racks on the way, and it seems as though HeroMarine is going to try and 2-base this here on Lightshade. Well, I mean, fun attack into the natural expansion, but even better defense there from ShoWTimE. Very well handled. As our bio army is going to come around the bottom side, is able to come in there, drop down a Revelation. A couple of medevacs continue with this bio army as well. Set up with that, a couple of additional stalkers just going to warp in from ShoWTimE. And another scan out on top of that left-hand side. So setting that up, we're going to be still moving around up through the center here for the moment. Oracle as ShoWTimE pulling back through the top, and just going to see 2 more medevacs loading up, and away we go. HeroMarine going to rally out to the far left now. Still keeping this pressure up. He is 3rd CC in it, so again, like I say, that's not going to be... It's still pressure focused, right? You're still 5 racks before 3 CC. But you're at least looking for an expansion here in the end, instead of just looking to win the game. So that's important information to have as ShoWTimE, if you can pick up on that. Which he has not been able to just yet. It's important for us to keep that in mind as well, because that's going to change the way in which HeroMarine maybe looks to fight you, and changes the necessity of how much he needs to fight as well. Right now, it'd be nice if he could slow ShoWTimE down at all, but he doesn't need to win the game like he would if he had no 3rd CC on the way. Still like it a lot overall for ShoWTimE. Colossus is on the way up, so his splash damage is coming online, and he maintains this defense against HeroMarine's army without really losing anything extra. HeroMarine is the one to lose the last few units in a row, and ShoWTimE just sitting back, holding on, knowing that this was an aggressive setup, and because of that has made sure to have a cannon here. Just something additional, anything additional to help you defend these positions, right? Anything like that is very important. As the bio army comes in from the left side, cannon is going to go down. Other bio units looking to move up the ramp. Couple force fields go down. The army of ShoWTimE pulls it back over the left. And he will hold on here with an additional round of assaults, warping in yet again. Blink back over to the right here, picking off the Widow Mine. And HeroMarine is making his way through the center of this map. Going to load up all these medevacs. Where they're going to go? Nowhere exciting, because they just got revelated. Nice catch with the Oracle. Just as HeroMarine was maybe looking to utilize the speed of those medevacs to reposition, ShoWTimE is right on top of it. Immediately knows where he's going to be going to. And that takes away the element of surprise, the element of the kind of speedy relocation, so that HeroMarine doesn't bother committing to it. The Colossi out, we see Viking production from HeroMarine as well, so he's preparing an answer to the rest of this. Of course, ShoWTimE just keeps on defending his high ground, but he's continuing to expand behind all of this, right? So he continues to look happy, in a position where he's able to say, well, I've got a good economy coming up. I, again, don't need to get aggressive because I'm just expanding at a good rate, and I'm defending well too. I'm taking good trades right now. There's no need for me to trade any differently to how I've already been trading. Another couple of Vikings pulled down the bottom. We're just going to be seeing the High Templars warping in here. Going to morph it into Archons. Just going to see our Bio Forces going to come through, knock down the rocks. I see the Bio Army stemming forward. A couple Colossi coming through. A couple shots going down. Zealot's taking a few shots of damage. Marauders and Marines moving forward. A couple of Widowmine shots going in. And you're not going to send Disruptor shot through as well. Kind of clips the edge of this as... I mean, honestly, HeroMarine, he doesn't have a lot of tech here anymore. ShoWTimE did lose one Colossus, but he still has two. There's no Vikings for HeroMarine. He's got a couple of Widowmines to fall back to as well. Obviously, ShoWTimE has the Disruptors that have already fired. You can just see HeroMarine's army. It's bruised up, right? There is not a lot of HP left on this army, and as HeroMarine loses one more Viking, it just makes ShoWTimE's Colossi that much stronger. Artifacts do get a chance to heal, so a little bit healthier now. Maybe HeroMarine can engage in a gain. These 1-1 upgrades about to be against 2-1, which is on the way to 3-1 as well. Here come the SCVs. HeroMarine has never intended for this game to go on for too long. And the next wave of aggression is with the SCVs, and that's going to be a game decided. Can ShoWTimE hold on a little bit longer here? Super Battery, I believe, is available. So that's going to be an important tool on this defense as the SCVs looking to attack. We pull back to that Super Battery right away. So ShoWTimE maybe a little bit quick on the trigger to set that Super Battery off, as we're going to be seeing him. Does he want to try and defend his fourth base? Disruptor shot finds a lone SCV. Not the best of disruptors right there. He does have 3 more shots available, though, so room to work with as HeroMarine is still trying to press on 3. He's lost all of the SCVs now. He's also losing SCVs in the main base as Prism Play comes through from ShoWTimE. He is dealing damage over here, so, you know, the economy of HeroMarine is really pretty much gone. He does not have reinforcements to build behind this, and he is not breaking through the front door, and hence ShoWTimE is going to find himself taking the 1-0 lead in the series. YouTube is almost like, it's like a highlight channel but with full series, you know. Let's check that out. !YT. You can subscribe over there and see when we upload. We upload once a day. Bottom left hand side, up 1-0 is the blue Protoss player, ShoWTimE, as we enter game number 2. Will he be the guy to start off 2-0 in this league? Is the top right hand corner. We do have our red Terran player, HeroMarine. I do see a Rax coming in to start us off with this. We're just going to be seeing our refinery building back in the main. Yo, Death Dealer Nor. Thank you so much for gifting out a sub to Timo VD Put. The 4-month resub, welcome back. Thank you for the generosity of a gifted sub to the community. Corp Scouts in. Obviously, main thing right now is to double check there's actually a barracks in this main base. Make sure you're not being proxy rexed. That's the first check mark you need to tick off with your scouting when it comes to Protoss versus Terran. Just double checking that. Now moving around is Cybercore. Then the next is from ShoWTimE at home. Something that HeroMarine does not know because he sent no scout onto the map. So HeroMarine a little bit blind for information, playing it a little bit risky, but to be fair, if there's ever a play you can play somewhat risky against, it's probably ShoWTimE, because at the end of the day, he is not the guy to bring the aggression to you all too frequently. Now, every now and again, in PvT, he has been kind of adding on a gateway and putting on some adept pressure. I say that specifically, I think he's used that a bunch against Clem in ESL Open Cups. So it's not like 100% of the time you just don't scout ShoWTimE, but I feel like, you know, every now and again it's okay to skip that scouting against him. And that makes its way up to the top side of the map. Is I'm going to be coming along here. He's going to pick off the rocks. The Adept comes in. Marine takes a bit of damage, and all these Marines just going to set up as the Orbital Command. Going to start morphing in on the natural. HeroMarine's going to go for a second Rax this time behind a factory. It's not going to be as biocentric as the last game. Going to have that Cyclone up a little bit earlier and then, go into the Bioforces behind that as we just see a few Marines over on this side. They're going to make their way back up to the high ground as well. A couple of gates going to come down from ShoWTimE. That goes that Oracle of ShoWTimE boosting across the map also out up to the upper right side. Zooming away. The Stargate opener, as we see him, and all the way up to the top right, is going to give him the Oracle into the main base. Marines are there, Marines on the natural as well. Same opening in his last game to begin with. Ooh, nice catch. High ground vision, though. Gets lost. Nice move from HeroMarine. Nice movement from ShoWTimE. Knows where to go to lose that vision. Of course he will. The difference here from ShoWTimE is he is now building Phoenix, and that's a unit we didn't see so much of in game number 1. So, a little bit of a different way to play this as ShoWTimE's point of view. As he is going to go into a nice quick third Nexus anyway, though, and the Cyclone does just spot that, so gaining that information. Cyclone should be careful. I mean, if a Phoenix lifts that up and there's a second Phoenix there, that Cyclone's probably going down. Might take a couple lifts, but you'd probably get it if you wanted to give up the energy for it. HeroMarine, he has seen the Oracle, of course, but otherwise he's playing pretty blind. The first scouting of the game was the Cyclone, just making sure that ShoWTimE is going to the third base. So, a couple of corners being cut by HeroMarine. By cutting those corners, maybe gives himself that little bit of an advantage, a little bit of an edge. Save a little bit of eco every so often as, I mean, Phoenix left the Cyclone, but you're never going to get that to finish up as obviously here come the Marines, and the Phoenix will just have to back away from that fight. So here comes the bit of a push. 2 tanks, plenty of Marines. Now ShoWTimE's getting the batteries up on the third base. Would love to be able to buy a little bit more time. Stasis Ward would definitely do that, but it was in the edge of the scan there. So HeroMarine knows the Stasis Ward is building right there. He knows where that is. And so realistically, should just be able to send one Marine in to set that off if you'd like to. Revelation comes down, just keep track of things, and there's a Marine sent in. Boom. Caught in the stasis. That's Triple Phoenix coming around the back, looking for reinforcements. Is going to lift up a tank and put some damage on it. This is, again, not a situation where you're going to pick up a kill, but I don't mind what he's doing, because what you do achieve with this is some damage on a siege tank. That's now more quickly going to fall in a fight when you target fire it. And maybe that makes the difference of it getting an additional shot off or not, which could maybe be important. And what does it cost you? A bit of shield damage on the Phoenix? The whole damage was obviously a little painful, but like I say, it doesn't really achieve a lot, but it's still achieving something for the cost of very little, you know? This Oracle is going to get shot down in the main base. Boom, it goes down. Finally, we're going to be seeing HeroMarine getting the catch on that, able to actually pick it off. It's been such a nuisance. It's been kind of just floating around there for quite some time, huh? And as we move over, Hallucinated Phoenix trying to see what's up. 3rd CC is building, so that's, again, the information that ShoWTimE would really be looking for. And as a bunker starts up here, of course, this is the difficult position on Oxide to deal with, and this is why Oxide is typically known as a Terran map. Easy to push across, good positions to take. That is why ShoWTimE is setting up for the full-on flank if he's going to try and engage this. He's always going to want to try and lift up those tanks with the Phoenix if he can. And in particular, he's going to want to go for this before those bunkers are finished. So I think it's pretty much time to go right now. I mean, he's running into such a choke point with those Marines. Reinforcements actually going to eat a few of the Zealots in the back as the Phoenix do lift up the tanks where possible. But man, this position is just way too good. And HeroMarine is going to demolish everything in the back lines. GG from ShoWTimE. We're going to yet another Game 3 here today. Top right-hand side of 2,000 atmospheres to wrap up this series. Our red Terran player is HeroMarine, taking on our blue Protoss in the bottom left. It is ShoWTimE. A third and final map. So get this ready to go. How this is gonna turn out. We're having some good games, aren't we? Like I say, a lot of the series, all but one so far, going to 3 maps. Still got a couple of best of 3s left here this evening as well. We're going to be covering 7 best of 3s tonight. And one of the matches, Skillless Denver, did have to get moved to another day. We'll have updates on that as whenever possible, really. We'll try and work it out. hopefully we can find a new time for that one. But yeah, we'll keep you guys updated again. The general schedule, as best we know it, is going to be always up on Wikipedia. So if you're ever wondering when matches are going to be, Wikipedia is kind of your best friend to keep track of that. Group takes that watchtower up the left-hand side. The SCV is making its way out across the map as well. The council is halfway done, and just taking a few moments here early, guys, as we get ourselves settled down. As we just hops in, Mule drops down the main base. Blink is building, and there's going to be a second gateway, so we shouldn't be seeing a super aggressive ShoWTimE here. This should just be a third Nexus fairly early on. Not really the best map for, 4-gate blink. It's quite a rotation from the front here to the blink into the main, which is pretty predictable where it's going to be as well. I think a siege tank here kind of covers your natural and your main base blinking locations. So I don't imagine this is a map we're going to see too much aggression. Wow, I am wrong. He is going to add on a Robo and 2 more gates. Interesting. Usually you do go Gate, Twilight, Robo, gates when you set up into this, but oh, sorry, your first gate and then Robo, then 3 more gates. So yeah, I'm happy to be wrong there. ShoWTimE is going to bring a bit of 4-gate blink. Well, I'm interested because, like I say, it still doesn't sound like what I say. I think the defense in this main is not hard to come across. I don't think you're going to be having too many issues here as HeroMarine. So we'll see if that's true. Now, Cyclone is going to be moving out through the top side. Just going to be seeing our Braxes building over here. Again, tank halfway done. Viking is on the way up. A couple of Marines just continue to rally forward onto the natural ramp at the moment. Again, Blink going to be finishing shortly. The additional Stalkers all warping in. And that's 8 Stalkers right now of ShoWTimE. Starting to make their way across the map. So away we go. Stalker's coming across. Cyclone is actually locked onto some rocks right now. Yeah, I'm not sure that's really going to be all that useful. you got like 4 gates of Blink Stalkers coming at you, and you're currently out here locking onto some rocks. I'm not sure what the play is there. HeroMarine is maybe going to be caught a little bit off guard with this. Stalkers blink up. That first tank wasn't siege, and that maybe was an opportunity for ShoWTimE to go for it. It might still be tank siege now. There's a lot of Marines though, and he's just going to have to blink out of there. Loses 1 Stalker, but yeah, that looked as though it could have really been something for ShoWTimE. Who already just says, right, Robobay and a Forge back at home. So he's already going to begin teching up at this point. We're just going to take those rocks down and just going to be seeing our charges building on the Twilight Council again. Forge and the Robo Bay building in that main base, and ShoWTimE, well, lifting up another couple of Stalkers, continuing to move these around. Unlikely to really find another chance to blink in though. I really feel like the chance was there when you blink up and you maybe go for that tank right away, but he didn't have a lot of preemptive vision. He didn't have an observer there, so he wasn't able to make the best calls necessarily. Stalkers come in, get some Marine, getting a couple of Marines. This is the Observer. Yeah, scan for the Observers, obviously a nice big pickoff. Stimpack and Combat Shields continues in from HeroMarine as well. A +1 attack upgrade coming through on the Engineering Bay also. A couple of Mules just going to drop down and start a mine on the back of this natural. Well, our gate's building up. Nexus of ShoWTimE coming down on the 3rd base as well, getting that set to rumble, and It's going to be seen. A Marine tank army of HeroMarine here going to start pressing forward. Stalkers are going to start blinking it back. So bringing it back a little bit. A Marine tank force all joining up together and just going to be seeing HeroMarine able to take control outside of his natural again, which is actually a really big thing because it's annoying when those Stalkers are there and they don't let up. This is 5 racks, by the way, so this is a full-on committed push across the map from HeroMarine, looking to deal some good damage. That's a big catch, though, from ShoWTimE, taking down a tank already. Those are the sort of pick-off Stalkers would love to get all the time if they could. Extended Thermal Lance is about to be done. Second Colossus ready as well. The biggest issue for the Colossi is fighting into the siege tanks. I mean, 4 tanks are still going to knock down Colossi pretty quick, but going to maybe be able to force a siege quite far forward. Maybe not. Those Vikings are scary. The Stalkers weren't here. And there is the tank siege up. So again, this pressure begins, and HeroMarine gets into a reasonable position to start. Now, we will see the Colossi able to deny the SCV built in the bunker, so ShoWTimE is not going to be rushed into a fight or anything, as the first Marines are going to stim up, and Stalkers will blink across to try and just deny those from doing too much. He wants to get that pylon finished off, and he'll get it. Actually does supply block ShoWTimE pretty seriously, so not a good time to be supply blocked, especially as your third Colossus is just finishing, right? So just as you could maybe start another Colossus or so, you get heavily supply blocked. New SCV showing up, and Bunker's going to try and advance further forward, as will the siege tanks. ShoWTimE obviously is getting pushed back into a corner a little bit. When do you go? I mean, Super Battery is available now. This might be your best chance to go while the Super Battery is up and running. The Colossi are kind of derping out, stuck on each other in the back on that pylon. Some additional Zealots coming through. They're going to charge forward. The tanks are now in the front lines here. Getting rid of those is big. Oh my god, 2 of them survive on low HP, and that's massive. The additional damage they can still deal is a huge deal. The fact that 2 of them are still up and running. The Zealots across the map are cleaning out the natural mineral line in the meantime. Now some SCVs have showed up. HeroMarine is going to tap out the game, though. Wow, he just... I mean, obviously losing the economy. The Colossi still alive is a big issue. I mean, when he leaves, it's around here, right? He's in a position where he has a few tanks still. ShoWTimE still has the Colossi. I think ShoWTimE is still going to probably hold. The problem is ShoWTimE doesn't need the third base because the natural expansion is shut down. And HeroMarine is not really mining very much at all. So I think the killing of the third base would be big if HeroMarine hadn't pulled SCVs and hadn't lost SCVs. Instead, ShoWTimE is just going to run off to his natural. He's going to have a ton of time with 3 Colossi to buy time, slowly pick away at this army and to pick his way through tanks, and that's why HeroMarine is going to leave that game and give ShoWTimE the victory. I know it's one of those scenarios where it's like, whoa, he's about to kill the third base, right? But you got to look at everything in the game, and HeroMarine knows that this one is wrapping up. GG's. Yeah, there's not a lot of bio units left either, right? So, GG's. Like I say,